And we are live inside the FingerLakes1.com studio, where I'm joined by Jim Sinicropi. We're doing an early Wine Wednesday, and we have Katherine Chase, of course, and we also brought a special guest today, and that is Cameron Hosmer, and he is going to be talking all about Hosmer wine. If you didn't know, now you know. Today's show is brought to you by the Seneca Falls Health Center. It's an advancing, patient-centered natural health care center where chiropractic, acupuncture, oriental medicine, and nutritional counseling are all conveniently accessible within one clinic, and they like to say that they have greater pain relief, faster healing, and better wellness. They're one of our newer members that have joined us, and we're happy to have them here as a sponsor on FLX Weekly. But we're going to jump into an early Wine Wednesday. I felt like I hadn't seen you. I was like so excited to see you, and you've actually were here sooner
there was
than
5 Wednesdays, and
okay,
and I just couldn't bear to wait another week to see you guys.
Yeah.
So I was doing my dirty work for the podcast, and I reached out to Hosmer to ask if I could bring a wine, and he's like, "Can I come on?" And I'm like, "Absolutely."
We love it. Yeah.
Yeah. So without further ado, let's introduce you to Cameron Hosmer.
Thanks for coming in.
Good morning.
We're happy to have you.
It's a pleasure to be here. I watch your show, and it's my turn to be here. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, right? We're just getting started. But I'm going to start with you first, put you on the spot, get you all comfortable on this show. Your name is Cameron Hosmer, so I have an idea that maybe you have something to do with Hosmer's story. Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Certainly. The Hosmer Winery is on Route 89 in Ovid. We're the southeast corner of the town of Romulus. And the property is 250 acres on Cayuga Lake. And we planted our first vineyard in 1972.
Sheesh.
And an interesting story about that is that the family farm had been in the family since 1920, where my grandfather's cousin purchased the property for a summer home. She was a librarian at the University of Chicago. And,
I love it.
And we'd go there in the summer and, kick the snakes out of the house and try to mow the lawn. And we would go there as kids for the summer, go swimming in the lake and, those sorts of things. It was a summer home. And in the early 70s, the Taylor Wine Company in Hammondsport reached out. They were expanding their operations, and they reached out to potential sites for planting vineyards. And my father, I got to give my mom and dad a whole lot of credit. I'm here doing this because of them. And they said, "Oh, this is great. Let's plant some vineyard." And my dad, I was a senior in high school, and he says, I think you'd like this vineyard thing. You like being outside, you like to work with tools and fix things, and you like, growing plants, and maybe you should think about going to Cornell and studying agriculture. And I was like, oh, okay. I was a kid. What senior in high school knows what they want to be when they grow up? So and I was a pomology major at Cornell and kind of learned, like anything in school, you don't learn it until you do it.
Of course.
But you have some background. So, that's sort of the backstory of me.
That's cool. I like that. And are you guys the oldest winery on Cayuga Lake? Or
well, actually, the oldest is...
Lucas is the oldest tasting room.
Lucas is the oldest tasting room. And they planted their grapes, I think, in, I don't know, 68 maybe.
You got to be close.
Yeah, but we're in there.
72.
Yeah, it's our 50th year of growing grapes on Cayuga Lake.
Wow, that's awesome. This year's the 50th year?
It's our 50th anniversary
for
vineyards.
For vineyards.
Yep.
Are you guys doing anything fun for that?
Oh, we did. We had a 50th anniversary a few weeks
missed
ago.
it.
So.
But coming up in August, they have a 37th anniversary for the tasting room.
Right.
They have 2 anniversaries.
Okay.
So they celebrate double.
That's
we
exciting.
grew grapes, for the Taylor Wine Company, and it was a wonderful thing. I loved it. We grew grapes, you'd sell them, and in the fall and in November they paid us, and it was awesome. But that business changed. There was a lot of turmoil in the wine business. Wine consumption went from 75% white to 75% red, basically overnight. And that caused some problems because grapes can't bleach themselves overnight. It's a long-term gig. Like I say, we have grapes that are 50 years old. So there was a lot of, I would say, turmoil. And that was when, in 1985, we said, we got to start our own winery because, take destiny into our own hands.
Right. That's so awesome.
And, I had been to school, studied some winemaking, and, I wasn't very good at it, but,
You tried.
we learned as we went,
Of course.
just like anything.
If you're not learning as you're going, then there's something wrong there. And you guys have been here forever now, and everybody knows you. You are a very known winery in the Finger Lakes, and we're lucky enough.
Yeah, it's one of the old guard, because there's so many new wineries over the past decade or so. So it's nice, to those old recognizable names, the standbys. And I actually, it might have been 2 or 3 weeks ago now, had a nice, I think it was a 2018 Pinot Noir, Hosmer Pinot Noir.
There you go.
And it was excellent. Enjoyed it. And,
No surprise there,
No
right?
surprise there. He's a
Has-
huge Pinot fan.
Hosmer is always, one of our stops when we're on that portion of the lake. So,
Thank you.
Same, I'd say. And you brought us 3 wines. Are these classics? Are these new
two
wines?
wines,
Are
one
these-
cider.
I didn't
Cider,
know.
I'm excited to hear about. It's got some story to it.
Yep.
Oh.
I brought 3 wines. I brought this first wine is a cider, so to speak.
Oh, it's a wine, though?
It's wine, yes. It's a Method Champenois wine, a champagne made from pears.
Oh, great. I love pears.
Is that the one we're going to
We
try?
call it Pearydactyl.
Oh, there you go.
And
Okay, I
it
get
was my
that.
son Timothy's idea. My son Tim is very involved in the winery, and he's a good vineyard person. He's a good farmer. He's a great steward of the land. That's really important to us. And
So that's got to feel pretty good.
Proud
The
moment.
next generation set to continue the tradition.
and he's good at it. And we have a saying, that the water we have here, we're so fortunate we have a lot of it, and we want to protect that. It's the most valuable resource on the planet by far.
Yeah.
Go 3 days without a drink of water. Tell me how
No,
you
thank
feel.
you.
Yeah, and that's, for just general purposes, the Finger Lakes region's lucky. There's not many places on the planet where we have such accessible,
Resources
Water.
everywhere.
Clean water.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And because of that clean water, we also get great drinks. So
We
I
do,
would
we
love
do.
for you to tell me more
Cheers
about
to clean
this.
water.
So anyway, we have some pear trees that my
it smells
dad planted, back in the 50s, and they bear pretty heavily. And we had in 2015, we had a pretty big crop, and so my son picked the pears and smashed them up and made a pear wine out of it to start with. And we said, well, this is pretty good. So then 2 years later, we made this. And we
Okay.
said, we're going to make this into a champagne. So which means you collect the pears, you smash them all up, you ferment them, you get a pear wine. And then in the traditional champagne method, or sparkling wine method as we call it here in the U.S., it's re-fermented in the bottle and you get this champagne.
I love this.
Peridactyl. And it's dry.
Yeah. I wasn't sure what the heck I was going to be tasting. And you kind of, pear is
This is
like,
how you get your serving.
Yeah, that's
fruit with it.
something
Yeah.
unique. I have a pear tree in my backyard, and it's inconsistent in the yield. Some years it doesn't produce anything.
It sure is.
And so, but when it does, man, it's a bumper crop. I make pear crisp a lot, and just grab them while I'm mowing the lawn, grab one off.
Yep. And so that's how
Fruit of the
that,
land.
we had a bumper crop of pears and I couldn't stand to see them go to waste. So,
that's
Yeah, this
That was
is
kinda
this is
fun.
fantastic.
Yeah, this is
Something
really
that's
good.
absolutely unique.
and
Right.
I have to give all the credit to my son Timothy. It was his creation, and his idea to call it Pearydactyl.
I love
I like
it.
that.
That's great.
So it's
It's
a little
definitely a
something
good
different.
summer. I feel so. So you would say it's a champagne. You would like label it
Sparkling
as a-
wine is the
Yeah,
term we're
it's a-
supposed to
it's
use.
Right. Yeah, I know. I was
Pear
waiting for you to
sparkling
say
wine.
something.
We can't call it champagne. The
Right.
French get
No,
mad at us.
I thought I had saw that there were also apples in it, maybe, and that's why I thought it was a cider. But
Maybe just a little, but because we had some that were ripe. Pears
Yeah.
ripen much sooner than our apples do.
Just throw in all those fruits for us, and then we can say that we're getting our.
it's like a fruit salad.
Hate to see them go to waste.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
no, I
awesome
tell you,
and
this is great.
delicious.
Pearydactyl.
And it won't be an every year release simply because the pears are so inconsistent. So this is
Exactly.
a rare taste we're having, possibly.
Oh, you know how much we love those.
This is what to look for here if you're stopping by the winery.
Did Tim also draw the label?
I was gonna
We
ask.
did. Yeah.
I knew it.
That's awesome. That's the fun part of the stuff, the less stressful part is when you get to design labels and come up with
It's a
new
flying
exciting
pear.
things.
I
Yeah,
just know- I
right?
just caught on to that.
You
It's
didn't.
the flying
it.
pear.
It makes
Peridactyl.
sense.
That is the peridactyl.
It is, yep. He's a clever guy.
Yeah, he
He
is.
is. He's a very clever person.
So was this something that he knew he wanted to do from a young age, or was it this type of thing with your dad that said, hey, maybe you should do this?
No, he was on board from day one.
Oh, that's
Great.
awesome.
Yeah, he's been on board since, there was times when he was in school with Kathy, and
Oh, no
he'd say,
kidding.
I don't want to go to school today, I want to stay home and help you.
Aw.
And I was like, cool.
Yeah, you were-
14 years old, and here he is wanting to drive the tractor, and
Yeah.
he's very well known up and down the East Coast because he runs our vineyard planting business.
Oh,
And has
awesome.
planted basically all up and down the East Coast and lots of new vineyards here in the Finger Lakes.
So you have a business that where you'll be contracted out to plant a vineyard
Yes.
for someone? Oh, no kidding. So how do people get in touch with you for that? Like, how do they find
Word
you?
of mouth.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
we have some very sophisticated grapevine planting equipment that can find a spot on the earth the size of a dime,
Wow.
plant a grapevine there all day long.
We learn something new every
And the
day.
machine drives itself.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It didn't start that way, but it's over time. And now it's it's a younger guy's game because it's all GPS and computers,
Yeah.
and I get a little bit lost, I have to admit.
Did you guys spend Father's Day maybe at Hosmer Winery?
Yeah, we sure did.
I had an idea that
Yeah.
maybe that's where you guys were, but let's move on.
We don't
what's-
go around much this time of year.
Oh, yeah, you're just too busy working, but
Well,
I'm
you know,
excited.
working too, but I don't understand traveling this time of year either. This is the time of year that you want to
yeah.
be. For me, June or May, let's say Memorial Day through mid-October, no better place in the world.
And the
I
Finger
agree
Lakes,
100%.
Yep.
We
Jim
live
is
in
advocate
a
on
beautiful
that.
We
place.
live where people vacation.
I know.
Beautiful
Right.
place.
That's so weird because you don't think of that on your day-to-day.
No,
like
you take
thing.
advantage of it
Right.
easily.
Yeah.
And there's-
Granted,
yeah.
I mean, yeah.
And it's not exactly crowded.
No,
Let's
never.
keep it that way.
I know
A
it.
public service announcement, like, don't move here.
Don't move here, just visit.
vacation here.
Right.
Yeah, we
Well,
want to keep
we
less
wouldn't mind them moving here. It would help our workforce and our economy.
Yes, it would.
There's a
So-
trickle-down system to that.
Some can move here,
We'll set a limit.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
set a limit, but I'm excited to try this one because it's.
Yeah, what are we
pretty
drinking next? The
color.
dry rosé, right?
Dry rosé,
Oh,
made from
classic.
Cabernet Franc.
Ooh,
Oh,
And
cool.
I got to give a shout out to my friend Doug Knapp, who started Knapp Winery.
yep.
And back in the days, probably 1985, he comes to me and he says, "Hey, I think we should plant Cabernet Franc." And I said, "Oh, okay. What's that?" And so I think that, myself and Knapp Winery are one of the first Cabernet Franc plantings in the Finger Lakes.
I love it, and that's become, we're getting better and better here at Red Wines in the Finger Lakes, and, I'm trying to think about where I had a Cab Franc from. It was local, I can't remember. I had the Hosmer
You said you had the
Pinot.
Buttonwood recently. Was
You
it-
know what? It is the Buttonwood, and that is something, the Buttonwood Cab Franc is actually something we're stocking now at Seneca Falls Country Club. So that is, you're right. You know me better than I do. That's exactly
She
where it is.
does. She's been around
I
a little
just
too
remember
long.
really random things.
Yeah. She's been around too long now, but we can't lose her
But
now.
a dry rosé with
This is
Cab Franc.
delicious.
So the Cab Franc is found a home here. It likes it here. It grows really well here. It's fairly winter hardy. I mean, it took us a while, and it took us a while to figure out what it does well. And if you look around the Finger Lakes, the majority of the rosés are made with Cab Franc.
Yep.
And yeah, we're fortunate that, it took a while. You just don't plant the grape and say, oh, this is going to work great. You got to figure out how to make it and how to grow it. I'll admit, when we first made red wine from Cab Franc, it wasn't very good because we just didn't know,
Right.
the technique for it here.
Yeah, I
Can't
think
use a
everybody's
technique
figuring it out now.
Can't use a technique that works in California because
Right.
this is not California.
It's a different
No,
climate.
it's not. We're happy.
But-
This is so fresh. This is so I used to, before Katherine Chase, be nervous and just shy away from drinking wines in the summer because I always was like, I don't know, like the red wines, they seem too heavy for me. But now,
This is a perfect combination.
Rosé and our next Riesling we're going to taste are
yeah,
perfect
I
summer
mean,
wines.
Rieslings are always like great, but I still always would switch to, different stuff in the summer. And now I'm like, oh, I could open up a bottle of wine and not think that
Now
it's
she's
for
an
the winter.
aficionado.
Yeah, we pretend. We pretend.
So what are some of the things that you learned along the way with the Cab Franc to help you get better? Just an example.
Okay. On the viticultural side of things, which has basically the line, to make good wine, you have to have good grapes. Simple as that. Cabernet Franc, the berries require early leaf removal around them so the sun can get on them.
Cool.
Very important. And that was, back in the day, it was unheard of
Right.
in the Finger Lakes. Remove the leaves?
Yeah, right.
It does
Wh-
sound a
why
little
would,
crazy.
why in the world would you do that? Well, it takes away this sort of bell pepper flavors that Cab Franc would develop that grow in the shade of the leaves.
So do you think that in California, or would you say like in a Napa Valley winery, that they would not do that? They would leave the leaves because they might get enough sun as it is in that
Well,
Napa
and they have
Valley
issues
area?
with sunburn.
Okay, yeah.
The sun's got a lot more oomph
Right.
in California, so
Gotcha.
they have to be really careful with that.
That's
But it
interesting.
took us a while to figure out the leaf removal and cropping levels also is those are the two main things with Cabernet Franc.
What do you mean by cropping level?
Well, how many pounds of grapes per vine?
Oh, gotcha.
Okay.
So, excessive, too many grapes on a vine, they don't get that ripe. And again, you get some more of that, bell pepper flavors, unripe flavors. We call them green,
Yep.
kind of green flavors. So, there's a sweet spot in the yield.
You guys have
Yeah,
found it.
To grow grapes, you're in it you have to grow enough grapes to make it pay. It's just, you're going to go out of business.
Right.
But too many then you shoot yourself in the foot, so to speak.
Right.
There's so much science behind it, really, and people don't, I think, ever think about that. And we have brought that to light, I feel like, with people that you have brought on. It's crazy to me, the background.
Oh,
We
sure.
see the fun part. We see the wine and the
Well, I think the fun part too is like saying, "Oh wow!" Like
yeah,
I said,
now.
just recently, I think like the 2017 seemed to be the year where you don't drink a lot of those 2017s to a few years later, but that was like the first year that I think the reds really started to arrive in the Finger Lakes, and it was obviously a great growing year. But again, like you said, the experience of trial and error.
Yep.
Finger Lakes has certainly been known for the Rieslings, obviously world famous. But I tell you, I love the reds. I love being able to go to a local winery and bring home a bottle of Pinot Noir, Cab Franc, and enjoy it. So it's good stuff.
We're going to come back in a few years to this video of Jim saying, like, the reds are it, and they're going to be world famous, too.
Cool.
We've learned that don't try to imitate other places in the world. We found that, particularly with the red wines, you're not going to replace California. You're not going
Right.
to have a 16% alcohol or 15% alcohol Cabernet
Whoa.
Franc. Give what the earth gives us.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
make the wine that we're supposed to, which is, you know, kind of fruit driven, not quite so heavy.
Yep.
And don't bury it in oak flavors. So, you know, judicious use of oak barrels is really important.
Wow.
Yeah, not over.
It took us a
over
while to
oaken.
figure that out, believe me.
Well, it's interesting too because, you know, in Napa Valley, their climate's changing now too. Things are different
Dun, dun,
for them,
dun.
so they have to adjust. It's you're seeing and you're seeing the you know, the Oregon wineries coming on a little bit because of the climate change. But everybody's always has to adjust because it's not just you go out and pick the grapes every year and you do the same thing every year because things change, you know, climate-wise, things change weather-wise, and yeah, that's what makes it so interesting, I think, is just what you come up
I
with
agree
from
100%.
season to season.
I have a saying, we're not in charge.
Oh, I love
We're
it.
just visitors here.
Yep.
And remember that because there's people in this industry that get into the wine industry and they're used to being in charge.
In control.
They're not
yeah.
involved in agriculture, and all of a sudden they get involved in agriculture and they're not the boss.
If you don't have a type A, if you have a type A personality, this might not be for you.
Yeah, it's very true.
You have to accept the fact that you're second in line.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
well,
awesome.
I think once you do accept that, that's when you can really start to, you know, you don't want to be frustrated, constantly frustrated by the weather and things not going right. Sometimes it's an opportunity, but it is scary when that's your business, you know, when your business is what dependent on the weather.
Yeah.
So,
We are not the boss.
We are not the boss. I am saying that. Moving on from here on.
but this was a delicious dry
was so
rosé made with Cab Franc, and it was
So
fantastic.
pretty. Look at it by your shirt.
A perfect summer. It matches my shirt.
Matches
I
his
mean,
shirt.
it doesn't. It just makes it look even prettier with your shirt in the background.
But you know, you got grad parties coming up. You want to stock some wine. Perfect warm weather.
Porch sitting,
Summer porch sitting wine. right there.
sunset, living.
Drink it cold.
Yes,
Yep.
drink it cold. And I'm really excited. I'm saying I want to try this one, but I think this is one of my go-tos.
The next one, the dry Riesling.
Yeah, I think this is
Sure.
one that's
Semi-dry.
always stuck
Semi-dry.
Oh,
out.
semi-dry.
Yeah, I am.
2020.
Yep. That's the one that I would always go for. So
Cayuga Lake Ava. What is that on this label?
Ava, that's the where the grapes come from.
The AVA.
AVA.
So
Yeah,
good.
gotcha. I don't know if we can get this in
Yep.
focus. to
And
see
so
it.
we were Cayuga Lake. I got to give again Doug Knapp a lot of credit. Their appellation of origin. So in the United States, every bottle of wine has to say where the grapes came from. And there's various districts. You know, California's got a bunch of AVA. So in New York, we had the choices were back in the day were New York or Finger Lakes.
Oh,
And so Doug Knapp said, we should create a Cayuga Lake AVA.
Oh.
So he drew up on the map and said that this Cayuga Lake area is in fact different than other places in the Finger Lakes. Not better necessarily, just different. So we were the first sub-appellation within the Finger Lakes.
wow.
And now Seneca Lake has one, and Cayuga Lake has their own appellation of
But it's
origin.
how we set ourselves apart, too.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah, and that's cool to know that. So when
Yeah.
you're buying these local wines, you know what some of that means. Because I had no idea that was the
So,
case.
so if
Like,
I
here's
sold,
Ava.
if I sold grapes to a winery in Ohio, for example, they could make wine out of it and put Cayuga Lake.
Right.
Oh, that's
their label.
awesome.
And that happens a lot now, where people are buying wines from other places to
Sure
make
does.
certain wines, and yeah,
More things to pay attention to, though, on the bottom.
yeah, you're decoding the. There's a lot to
do a
learn
label
from a label, and again, that goes into what makes it so interesting.
Right. You think there's anybody out there that could take a sip and know which AVA it's around?
Probably.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, probably not. I'll be honest with you. I should say yes, but probably not.
That would be crazy. That person.
That would be
Next
somebody.
level genius.
I
Yes.
couldn't do that. I'll
We want to
admit
keep
it.
that person around, but
Semi-dry Riesling 2020.
This is fabulous.
These
delicious.
grapes were planted. I'll tell you an interesting story about Riesling. This Riesling I planted in 1980,
No.
spring of 1980.
That's the best part. That's
And
awesome.
Specifically.
A
he
funny
knows
thing
why.
happened Christmas Eve of 1980. We planted the grapes in early May of 1980. They grew all summer, and everything was fine. On Christmas Eve in 1980, the temperature went from 35 degrees Fahrenheit to minus 12 overnight.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
And you had little baby plantings in
the
the
grapes
ground.
didn't have a chance to put their coats on.
Yeah.
And grapes are just like people, you know, it gets cold in the winter and we get a little bit used to it. And,
Yeah.
But, you know, in the beginning of the winter, you put your heavy coat on and you're
Yeah.
still freezing. And then in the middle of the winter, you go out
So
without
true.
a jacket on and you're fine. There was some significant, what we would call winter injury. You know, actually the plants froze. And it was a tough year. The following year, there was very few grapes and peaches and apples, and the whole fruit industry took it really on the chin. We refer to it as the Christmas Massacre
I've heard of this.
Of
I didn't know the
1980.
story.
of
Of
1980.
I was going to say, that must
Yeah.
not have been too enjoyable
No.
Christmas Eve that year.
Well, you didn't know it till you woke up and you went, "Oh, my pipes are frozen."
Right?
So are the grapes.
So are the grapes.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, that was 1980. Miracle on Ice, U.S. Olympic hockey team. That was the Carter, Reagan, Anderson presidential election.
Jeez.
Yeah, huh.
I definitely.
I was 8 years old.
You
Boy, you remember well.
I was in
got
third
that
grade.
memory.
Did you vote?
I couldn't vote, but I remember being interested
though.
in it.
Yeah.
Being interested in
I
it.
believe
Only in school.
So it is, these were delicious, all three of these. I'm super thankful you brought them on. It's always a good 11 a.m. little drinky.
The Riesling is fantastic.
It is.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's
I
not
already
too
finished
sweet,
mine.
It's not too dry.
I can't even go back like I usually do because I finished that one
I
too.
know, I
quick.
finished them all.
I tried to bring summer wines.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's what- I
absolutely.
was just
And
gonna
this-
say, summer's in full swing. Like you read my mind.
This is a fantastic example of why Finger Lakes are so known for the Rieslings. And yeah, I mean, just perfect summer wine, perfect summer wine. Great with a
This
with a
pairs
nice
well
summer
perfectly
salad.
with summer.
Yeah.
Summer solstice was yesterday.
Yep.
Did it feel like the longest day of the
It
year?
sure
to you
did.
guys? I
It was
had a golf
incredible.
tournament, so I was okay with it. It felt like a nice day. but-
Happy anniversary to my parents. They were married on the longest day of the year.
Oh,
June
that's
Oh,
21st.
wonderful.
cool.
Congratulations.
That's a little unique thing that you don't usually hear. But with summer being in full swing, that means that you guys are event-based.
The
every
winery
single
events
day.
are in full swing.
Right,
Yes,
yeah.
tell me
Fill us
about
in,
it.
Catherine. What's
It
going
kind of
on?
starts this weekend. Thursday nights, 6 Mile Creek has music. Friday nights, Buttonwood Grove has music. Saturday afternoons, Buttonwood Grove has more music. Knapp has music Saturday afternoons once a month. On Sunday, Hosmer has Vinyasa in the yogurt. Vinyasa in the yogurt.
Yogurt.
Vinyasa in the vineyard.
It's yoga.
Yogurt.
Yoga. I know. I don't know why I said yogurt.
You
And
were
then
thinking.
soon they have music and mimosas that will follow the vinyasa.
Oh.
Lucas starts their Naughty Summer Nights, Thursday nights,
Oh,
coming up
yeah.
soon too. Then August 6th is their 37th anniversary at Hosmer as well. So every weekend you will have something to do.
And where
on
can
the
people
Cayuga Lake
find
Wine
all of those events?
CayugaWineTrail.com/events.
Beautiful.
Doing a
That's
great
awesome.
job.
Yeah.
Yes,
But
she is.
disregard the yogurt.
Yeah.
This lady's doing a great job.
Maybe
Yep,
you
I
can think
agree.
of a
Really
yogurt
is.
event.
I'll have to think of a yogurt event to cover.
Yeah.
It
that
was
up.
cool. Yesterday, we were both at the Seneca Chamber Tourism Summit.
Yep.
And Brittany Gibson from Seneca Lake was there, and you were there. And yeah, it's just cool to get people in the industry together like that to talk shop, I guess.
Yep.
If I knew you were going to be there, I would have taken Jim's offer up and gone. But I didn't because I was super busy after
You know-
being at a golf tournament. Yeah.
You know, as an industry, we're really fortunate because, you know, we compete with each other, not against each other.
You're
Right.
right.
You know, and that's unusual,
It's
I
a
would say.
co-opetition.
You know, we really get along good. We help each other when necessary, and it's really fortunate. It's a great group of people.
Well, for everyone's success, it opens the door for others to hop on the train, I guess. It's a region-wide thing, and we really do, in the world of wine, need to almost fight for our position in the world, you know? It will take a while, I think, before we're fully respected with the great wineries of France or California, but just the change in the last 10 to 15 years in the
Okay, we're getting there.
perception, I guess. And it started with the Riesling,
We're
Riesling.
still in the
and-
toddler stage.
Right,
in a
right.
sense.
That's crazy
for
to even
sure.
think
Yeah.
of. That's
Mm-hmm.
mind blowing, but really, it was awesome to have you on. We had the Cameron Tunker Hosmer
Yeah, thank you.
on the show.
The.
That's his,
Very
his
interesting.
name. Yeah, you did great. I hope you had fun.
What's your son's name?
Timothy.
Timothy. Well, he'll come in a few months maybe
Yeah,
and
we'll get
visit
him
us.
on.
Okay.
His name should be
You'll
Timothy
like it. He's fun.
Tunker.
Good.
Oh my goodness, that's great. And
Tunker
really-
Jr..
Yeah, Tunker Jr. That's all the time that we have. So thank you guys for coming on. We'll see.
Yeah,
you,
thanks.
I
Catherine.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good luck this summer.
Yeah, we'll see you next month, of course.
Yep, thanks,
and
In the new
Catherine.
studio, I hope.
I hope so too.
It's
That
gonna be
should
close.
close.
It's gonna be close.
That should be close. We'll get you in there eventually. But for everybody that was watching, we hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, you can click like, you can share with your friends, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel.